Hi everyone. So I'm going to talk about my experience taking the DELE B2 exam. I'm going to tell you how I prepared, different tips, advice, the materials I used, how to register, length of time, all of these things. So I decided to take the B2 and I decided to prepare by myself. I looked for resources and I found a book on Amazon. This book, we'll put the link below. So this is a book that's an official DELE book that you can use. It has practice exams, all the types of tasks. So it has listenings, readings, some speaking examples, and writings. I found it really useful that I could do it on my own time and I could write in the book. I found that really useful. Something that I found helped me a lot with the listenings, apart from using the CD that they provided, was that I started to watch everything in Spanish. So series, movies, listening to music in English. Nacho Rosa is a great artist to listen to if you want to listen to some Spanish music. For example, some good series that I could recommend. I enjoyed watching Las Chicas del Cable, Élite, the typical Spanish films. I would ask my friends for recommendations. So I think that made a really big difference. And when it came to my speaking, being that I live in Spain, it was very easy for me to practice speaking. I would always speak with my friends in Spanish. We would go out and practice just conversation speaking. Other days, I would have my friends help me to practice the exam speaking structures. They would give me feedback. And apart from that, I think just using it every day really made a difference. For the writings, this was something that I struggle with. I asked my friends to help me. So I would do the writings given in the book, give it to my friends to help correct. Perhaps this could be something if you find you really struggle with, maybe to find a teacher. Sometimes my friends struggled a little bit helping me with some grammar, explaining things, but overall, I think. So when it comes to registering for the exam, again, I did everything on my own. So you go to the official DELE website, the Instituto Cervantes. I simply put in Google, DELE exam. You put, for example, the year, and they have every month, certain months, they have, depending on your level, they have exams. So they will show you when each exam is offered. You can choose, for example, the city where you want to take it. I did it in Madrid and there were a lot of centers to choose from. So I simply found an exam center that I could access easily. You do everything online. You are going to create a username, registration, and you pay that day. And I believe I did this probably 2 months before I decided to take the exam. I would say overall, the length of time that I took to prepare for the B2 was a few months, maybe 2 months. That's also because I've been living here in Spain, so I had a lot more exposure to Spanish. But I think it depends on also how much you need to improve, or, for example, if you feel that you can dedicate many hours and do it in a short time. For me at the time, I was working, so I couldn't study, for example, 2 hours every day. I would typically study at the weekends. During the week, I wouldn't have time to officially study from the book, but that's when I would do other things like watching a series in Spanish, meeting with my friends, talking with them in Spanish, and I would do the exam prep at the weekends. So registering is very easy. So when it comes to passing the B2, the way they score it is they divide it into 2 groups. They have one group, which is your reading and your writing, and another group is your listening and your speaking. So each part of the exam, there's a maximum of 25 points. So if you combine the reading and the writing, the maximum you can get is 50. In order to pass, you need to have a 30 between the two. So they will average the reading and the writings as long as you have more than 30. If you have 30 of 50, you will pass. And the same goes with the group 2, which is your listening and speaking. So you have a maximum of 50 points and you need to get at least a 30 between the 2 parts. Here you have my scores. So I was able to pass everything. My weakest point, like I said before, was my writings, but everything else I did really well. This, I think, is something that made me feel a bit more relaxed, knowing that it was an average of 2 parts because I did have my strengths and weaknesses. So if you, for example, if there's a part that's a little bit more difficult for you, just keep in mind that they are going to average 2 parts together. So overall, just some tips that I have for you guys when it comes to how to prepare. One of the first things and the biggest thing is that start switching everything over to Spanish. start watching your regular TV shows in Spanish, movies in Spanish. Something that I found really helpful is watching series that you have seen in English in Spanish. You can put subtitles on, but make sure they're in Spanish, not in English. I think as you're watching the series and you're reading the subtitles as well, you can pick up more vocabulary. When it came to reading, personally, I used the exam book to help me with my reading. I would also read newspaper articles in Spanish and just different things in general, maybe some interesting short stories in Spanish. And speaking, of course, speak as much as you can. If you have friends who speak Spanish, family, just practice what you can with them. The writing, I would highly recommend you practice the writing. This for me was the worst part. I think, again, for me, it just came down to the fact of accents, tildes, things like this. But again, if you have people who can help you, just continuously practice and make sure grammar-wise you understand the grammar. But overall, it's something that you can definitely do on your own. You can study at home. You have many, many resources online as well. And I think it's totally achievable. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and good luck on your B2.